Yeah, I'll just video too then.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got it. Okay. So for those of you that are on screen, you can see the consent form, and I'll read it out loud to everyone who's on site. To be a voting member of the corporation known as the Rural Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorder, FASD, Support Network of Eastern Ontario, the following criteria must be met. You must be an individual who has been diagnosed or suspected to be living with FASD and or a family member and or primary caregiver of such an individual living with FASD. And in our bylaws, we define family member as anyone that would be considered part of the immediate family, which does include aunts, uncles, and so on, as well as brothers and sisters. You must renew your membership each year. And finally, you must give your consent stating your support of the network objectives. A, promoting the sharing of learned experience between and among individuals with FASD, their families, peer families, and professionals who serve as first responders, support staff, and the general public in a variety of forums. B, connecting individuals with FASD and their caregivers with appropriate local supports and resources. C, advocating for more supports for individuals impacted by FASD in rural communities in Eastern Ontario and throughout the province. And D, and such other complementary purposes not inconsistent with these objects. By meeting this criteria, you are eligible to be considered by our board to vote in our annual general meeting. If you are 18 years or older, you are also eligible to be voted by the regular membership to serve on the board of directors. One note here, this means that Mark is eligible to be a member. He's not eligible to be a director, is the way this works in that particular case. If you do not meet this criteria, you still have the opportunity to be a non-voting member. This membership gives you the ability to attend all meetings, access all events and materials, and have the opportunity to share your expertise and knowledge. If you agree, please give your consent at this time. And I just need to bring up my next doc. I, Rob Moore, give consent. Diane Greer, do you give consent?
I do.
Rhonda Gainsford, do you give consent? Cassie Moore, who is not present today, has already given consent. Angela DeRose, do you give consent?
Yes.
Shelby DeRose, who I don't think is present at this time, but is
No, she's not.
Sorry, say that again.
No, she's not. She started a new job.
Okay, thank you. Jane Stoddard, do you give consent?
I do.
I don't have Riley Belanger, do you give consent?
I do.
Is there anybody else there with you?
Me?
Is there anybody else in your family with you? Just you?
No, it's just me today.
Okay, not a problem. Mark Gainsford, do you give consent? Dave Gainsford, do you give consent?
I do.
Shelley Moore, I might still be dealing with the cleaner. I think we're all right. We're going to say that we have consent. Yeah. Okay, so at this point, our membership list for this year, which consists of 3, 6, 9, 11 individuals. And as a result, all 11 individuals are present. So we have quorum. Meeting is now called to order. And I just need to drop that in over to there. Yes, finding acknowledgement is nice. We just got to hop over to read off of the website. Next, our land acknowledgement. The Rural FASD Support Network of Eastern Ontario acknowledges that the land on which we work, in which we live, work, and gather is the traditional and unceded territory of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe Nation, as well as the land stewarded by the thank you, and other Indigenous peoples who have cared for these territories since time immemorial. We honor and respect the enduring presence, cultures, and contributions of all First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people across what is now Eastern Ontario. We also recognize that fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, FASD, affects Indigenous communities and impact deeply rooted in the ongoing legacy of colonialism, systemic racism, and intergenerational trauma. The effects of residential schools, forced displacement, and unequivocal access to healthcare and social supports continue to affect the well-being of Indigenous peoples and community. As we advocate for those with FASD and their caregivers, we are committed to listening, learning, and working in partnership with Indigenous peoples. We strive to support healing, reconciliation, and equitable access to culturally appropriate care and support for all individuals affected by FASD. We are grateful to do this work on this land and acknowledge our responsibility to work together in truth and respect. And so next on our agenda is the approval of the agenda. Our agenda, I think everyone can see on the screen. We have hard copies here for people to look at as well. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I approve.
Moved by Rhonda, seconded by Jane. All in favor, please raise your hand. Beautiful. Motion pass. Next on our agenda is the AGM minutes from last year. Again, I'm just going to bring this up for everyone to see. Our minutes from last year consist of our engagement report, operations report, and the new business of director elections, our auditor, and adjournment. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes? Moved by Diane. Seconded by Rhonda. All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries. Next is our engagement report, which I think we are turning over to Jade at this point.
Yes. So we got this in under the wire. So it's still in draft because it just came in on like Tuesday. But we did get it all together. There were some questions because we had a new person on the team this year, and because we're coming into the end of YOF, he had lots of questions about the funds that we used last year versus the funds that we used this year. We actually went right back to the beginning and we reconciled everything right to December 31st. So they were quite happy with that. So with the starting of the GROW grant, the overlapping of the YF, and all the other really hard work that I have to say Rob really put in last year on getting us grants. Our actual grant revenue last year was $296,000 in grant revenue, and our total funds received generated was $353,121. So that's how much money we brought in last year. That's a really big jump up from before. But next year, because we're not going to have the YOF, we'll see that go down again a little bit less. Our total expenses last year was $276,346. Of course, our largest expense as always are wages. But the event expense, we see that 31,000, that was mainly the money we spent for the triathlon, so awareness campaigns. That was our big, but then the triathlon also brought in around $30,000. So we pretty well broke even on the triathlon. Our other events were mainly awareness. We didn't really do any full fundraising events. However, having the draw last year, the WestJet tickets, that really improved and helped our fundraising amounts. So basically we have our closing net assets at the end of 2025 was $19,505. So we were good there. We're spending properly in our financial, in our grants. There is one thing that I want to bring up to everyone. When we spoke to the bank last fall, and we had a large chunk of money in the bank, it was suggested that we throw some of that money into a short-term GIC for additional interest. Sorry, Rob.
Shelley has a question, but if you want to keep going.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry, Shelley, go ahead. You're muted.
You're muted. Shelley, you're muted.
I just want to ask about the event expenses. Can I ask that now or wait?
Yes, go ahead.
So the event expenses for the what is it called? The run and the cost for doing the online ticket stuff and all that. Like, what's the return on investment in that? Like, is that something that you're sustaining or?
I have it broken out for you. Mainly it's under Red Shoe Run events, but for the triathlon alone, I think we had an overall loss on our Nargo, but our overall loss was, I think, around $500. So,
so for a first year event, that's reasonable, I guess. It just means getting more sponsors. Is that right?
Yes, and we won't have as many expenses this year. So, like the t-shirts that we all expensed for last year. Well, we only used half of those, so that expense won't be there this year. We won't have the expense for the medals. So there's a lot of expenses that we won't be having in equipment. So we had a lot of one-time or initial expenses, and we'll be able to not have those this year.
Okay. And what about, so what did you find with those online raffle ticket sales? Like, was that a good return on investment? Like, did that cost us a lot versus how much we made?
Online cost us nothing really, and no, it was a very good, it was a really good boost. It was unfortunate we didn't sell as many as we hoped we would, but everything for that, I think we spent maybe $100 in posters, but we did make up for that in the sales, in the raffle sales.
Where the
so do you see that as a way of fundraising in the future if you've got that down now that you know how to do that?
The challenge with that one was more in terms of the paperwork and the time working with AGCO and getting the license. Basically,
I'm asking for return on investment, right? Like, so you're putting these efforts in, right? Do you see there's a return on investment? And if there's not right now, do you see it in the future, or are you going to look at other strategies? That's what I'm asking.
I'll actually cover that in the operational report, Shelley.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. So I was on the GIC. So yes, so what we did is we put $125,000 into a GIC in October. And as now what I'm doing is as I require those funds, as our operating account goes down, I will then pull, it takes me 24 hours to pull money out of that. So I did my first pull of 20,000 in January. And I'll probably pull again come the beginning of March. But we get 2.5% interest on that. So even with pulling, we're still doing much better in interest, and it's so much easier to do that. I discussed it also with our grant funders, with our program managers, and they were okay with us doing this as well. So the rest of the financial review from Layla, from Bob Winters, just was our just how our operations go, our statement of cash flows, and he you know, they did a lot of comparisons from 24 to 25, which is normal. And at this point in time, our liquidity, like our risks, so for the board, are very low. We're not exposed to any interest rate risk. We are not exposed to any currency transaction risks because we work in only in Canadian dollars. Not exposed to any risk because we, you know, we have our credit card, but it's covered by a separate GIC. And we do not have debt, so there's no liquidity risk. We are coming to the end of our agreement with Open Doors. So we'll be moving out of those spaces in the end of April. But so all of that stuff is actually going to be stored, everything, all those office supplies and everything there is going to be stored at my place from there on in. So the if you have any questions, was everybody able to go through the financial? Where am I? You can't see there. The financial doc, and are there any questions on what was in there? So when we, and the other thing was in the packet is the statement of profit and loss. So the profit and loss was, what we did is we broke it out by project. No, go back. It should be, oh, did I not upload it in there? Sorry, Rob, I didn't upload it in there. Let me.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop sharing.
And I will share.
Do I think you have the ability? Do you have the ability?
Either that, or let me just put it in the folder that you can,
Okay.
sorry about that. Oh, no, do you see the spreadsheet that's in there, compare project codes?
Oh, yeah.
That's in there, that's it.
That's it?
Mhm.
Okay.
So from right to left, our project codes, CSJ is Canada Summer Jobs, that's our student job. And so that's what when we hired Devin last year to do our event planning. We have applied for that position again for this year. We'll be finding out in the next little bit if we have it. Grow is the new Grow grant, which allowed us to hire Shannon and now Skylar and Wesley and do our mentoring and that program. Mental health first aid. We actually received a grant from Trillium, Mutual Trillium Insurance for that, and to go towards our members doing mental health first aid last year. And there's lots of changes that I'll talk about in the operating system, in the operations about that. RSR, so that is Red Shoe Run, so that's the triathlon and the family fun day, and there was also in here the Brockville 5K. So if we look at fundraising and event revenue for the Red Shoe Runs, it was almost $9,000, and then we had 19,000 in grant revenue. So part of that $9,000 was the all the entry fees for the triathlon. And then also the raffle. And from there, if you kind of just flop over to the bottom page, we had over all of them with our grant revenue, 1, 2, 3, we had an actual net profit over all of the Red Shoe Run events of $4,000. Again, thanks to mainly our the sponsors and the grants that municipal grants, Jumpstart, really helped support that. SFCF is Smith Falls Community Foundation, Community Fund. So that was the grant from Smith Falls. We received, it was a $25,000 grant. We received $18,500, and then we just received the final allotment this week from them. YAL is the youth accessibility. That was our website review and change. So that was a $9,000 grant, and so we've still finished, but we still have some expenses to go towards that, and not everything was paid out in 2025. And again, YOF is our original Trillium grant. And again, that's all paid out except for the last holdback, which we'll get in July. And I believe that holdback is 12,500.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
10%.
Yeah, 12,500.
Yeah.
And then unassigned. So there is just anything that doesn't fall under an initial project. So we had 75,000 in unassigned revenue and grant revenue. Now that 31,333, that was actually not a grant. That is an adjustment that's an accounting adjustment from last year to this year. And it's unassigned, but that is just an accounting adjustment. It wasn't an actual grant that we received. So again, our total is 372,448.890 in gross profit. And if we flip down here after, and then 244,000 in expenses. So we actually 128,000 on paper. So is how we ended up the last year.
And just the 657.47 interest income, that's the GIC.
That's the GIC.
Yeah.
Yes, the GICs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised. Wasn't expecting it to be that much in the first little bit, but yes. Yeah.
Jane, you did remark that the summer student grant.
Yes.
What else? Is there anything else in play that we can reapply for, like that 9,000 in 2026?
So we have reapplied for CSJ. Smith Falls Community is this SFC. We have reapplied for that. We're waiting to hear. We thought it'd be good.
Didn't know if certain back-to-back years you're not allowed.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And I'll talk about YOF when we go into our operating report.
Okay.
I think that brings us to the end of the engagement review portion. Are there any other questions regarding the financial state? As Jane said, when we think back to our strategic priorities that we had established 2 years ago, I want to say 2 years ago now, we had stated that our number one was being able to establish financial sustainability moving forward. I think we're obviously been pretty successful in terms of meeting that particular one. So definitely in terms of strategic priorities moving forward, we're definitely now focused more on the ones that were listed below that, looking at the daily living support, looking at financial management support, looking at employment support. And I don't remember the fourth one off the top of my head, but that's,
Housing?
yes, that was it. It was housing. Fourth one was the housing support, and so on. So I will entertain a motion to accept the engagement report at this point. Moved
I will.
by. Perfect. Moved by Angela, second by Rhonda. All in favor, hands up.
Kind of self-serving.
Beautiful. Okay. And moving on to the operations report now. I just gotta clear tabs. Get to the right spot. There we go.
Did everybody, those online, did you have a chance to glance at the operation report? Were there any, because I'm just gonna skim through it. I'm not gonna go through the whole thing. So first thing is we talk about, our caregiver meetings and our caregiver support. So we still have, kind of a dedicated small group that come regularly to the caregiver meetings. But as time goes on, we've seen a gradual decline. And as we move forward, I'm going to ask the membership to think about and evaluate what do you want from me? Is the current format still work? Does its current format still work for you? And does it still align with your needs? And if not, please feel free to reach out and let me know what you need from us. And if if there's something we need to do to better engage and better, again, because we still want to reach out to everyone who has FASD, their caregivers, and still make this an open community for everyone. So just if I could get feedback on that, you can doesn't have to be today. If you want to think on it and email it to me or however you want, text me, y'all have my number. Just let me know what you think. Okay. Community events and awareness. So our Family Fun Day in Smith Falls was really successful again this year, and I feel we're going in the right direction there. We're really engaging youth, bringing the two school boards, multiple schools together in one day. I think that awareness and that togetherness, I think was a really good path for us and for this. So we are again hosting in 2026. We have the support of the community, we have the support of the town, and we have the support of both the school boards and the principals from the schools. They were very happy about that event. And we want to maybe have a little bit more focus or an exercise specifically regarding FASD awareness. Instead of just touching on it, we want something more tangible for them. The Bravo 5K Red Shoe Run, we had really good support within the community. However, our turnout was low. And on that, after reviewing our return on investment, and we decided not to continue again next year with that one. The triathlon, we had a lot of very strong community engagement, very good support from North Grenville, the town of Kempville, the hospital, and the community. And it's a really good event that, again, so we are going to do it again in 2026. We have committed to that, but we want to make sure that there is more of a FASD awareness piece. Why are we doing this? Who are we for, especially for those elite athletes that are doing their hopeful, and bring them in to show them, other people who are in their own community and our community. So we're just going to work on the best way to do that and bring it forward. just personally, I was at an event this week, the 100 Women Who Care in North Grenville. And there was different women in that group that actually attended the triathlon last year, were asking me about the dates for the event for this year. And I've made some really good connections with the senior group there. They might come out and do some volunteering at it, or just even to view. So it's really positive. So we're going to keep that going forward. However,
You have a question, by the way.
oh, go ahead, Shelley.
Did we get any formal feedback from the event participants?
Yes, we
As
did.
to lessons learned and, you know, what they liked, what they'd like to see change, whatever?
Not so much from the participants there. Our participants were all really, like the athletes and their parents that we talked to that were competing, they were quite pleased with how the event went. We just had that one little, issue with the, on the bike race, and we've now changed the course, so we shouldn't be running into that. But actually there was, even with that happening and little, like, these glitches happen all the time, I guess they tell us. So they were really pleased. And for the community participants and the first people that were doing the try that, they had nothing but glowing reviews. They loved it, that it was in the pool, that it was controlled. Yeah. So insofar as in the community, we had some feedback with our organization team. And again, for that, we've changed our bike race course. And we're going to be doing a few things a little differently, but on the whole, it was really positive. Rob has been talking to Adam at Somersault. And we are hoping that after a little bit, if this does grow and everything, that Somersault will take this over and off our hands, because that is what their job is. They do triathlons. They are in the Ottawa region. And so our goal is to have this, keep going with this, but it is a lot of work, and it is kind of outside of our wheelhouse. It is, outside of the awareness piece. So our goal is to have them take it over. And in doing that, we're actually this year creating its own website. And so it is still, a rural FASD support event, and we're still doing it. However, we're starting to position it that it can be taken over by someone else and easily transitioned away from rural FASD into another event.
One more question then. So if the eventual goal is to let go of it, are you gonna then, because is it are you gonna do something else to raise money, or you don't think that it's viable to raise money in the future? Like,
yeah, this is never going to be what we found out from last year is this is never going to be a huge money maker for us. We broke even last year. We may make a small amount of profit this year, and that's positioning it. But for the work that's involved in the organization and all the volunteers and everything that we need, it's that ROI isn't there for a triathlon for us. However, if we do transition out, we still want to work and still have FASD awareness be a part of this triathlon, even if someone else does the organizing. And we'll be talking to them about that as it goes forward.
So we can be a presence there.
Yeah.
As far as.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's all about athleticism, I think, too. And so, for us to do the run part. But
yeah,
yeah.
and I think part of where the conversation, I guess two pieces with it, and with Shelley's question as well. The biggest positive piece of feedback that we got from the participants is the fact that this is really the only triathlon in Ontario where it's this spectator friendly. So parents that are coming to watch their kids do this, grandchildren come and watch their grandparents do this. And the reason for it is because Riverside Park with the pool you get to see the entire swim portion, which never happens. Most triathlons are happening in a lake or a river, and so you see a little bit of it, but not the whole swim. Same way, because the run is entirely within the park. Again, normally it tends to be linear. You don't normally get the loops. And so, and then the biking, with it being a shorter loop now this year with the new route, they're going to see the participants every 2.5 kilometers versus every 5 or 10. And so you literally can set up a lawn chair in Riverside Park and watch 90% of the race, which just doesn't happen anywhere, which is the big selling point for it for sure. Then off of that is right now, it's only one of 3 sanctioned youth series triathlons in Ontario. So definitely pulling people in from across the province that would not learn about FASD in any situation whatsoever.
The town of Kempfeld must be happy about
And
it.
and I guess the last piece that we can share at this point is the town of Kempville just told us a week ago, I think now, they're committing $10,000 toward it.
Makes sense.
So that is that. So from our standpoint, that's all that we need in terms of sponsorships for expenses moving forward now, is that all expenses are now covered. So anything from a registration standpoint moving forward is going to be profit. The downside of it that Jane was talking about was, because it is a pool swim though, we're also very limited in terms of the number of participants that we could have. Basically our top number is going to be 200. So at the very most, you're talking somewhere around $8,000 to $9,000 is the most you're ever going to be able to make off of this.
Did you turn people away last summer?
No,
No.
we
You
were
didn't
under
cap
100
it.
people
Oh,
last
okay.
year.
Yeah.
But our inaugural, we're very pleased.
The first year,
Yeah.
Okay.
100 people, we broke
Okay.
even, which was fantastic. But there is definitely a cap as to what the financial benefit is going to be moving forward on it.
If that helps, Shelley, I do have a question, or it's more of a comment. Backing up, I'm not sure why you're calling it the Brockville 5K.
Because
It's
it's
Johnstown,
Johnstown, yeah.
Cardinal,
Yeah.
Edwardsburg.
Yeah.
I just,
Yeah.
because there is a Brockville 5K,
Oh.
and I just
Yeah.
thought somebody historically looks at this.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank
So
you.
Thank you, I'll correct that.
Edwardsburg Cardinal Township was a big support.
Yes,
Yeah.
they were. They
Anyway,
were. And having 3, large events, boom, 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 it is a lot
Mhm.
on us. So, yeah.
well, and it's summer, you're competing with lots of regional stuff. So to do 2 really well
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense too, rather than.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a question. How, is there a way that we can get the kids involved in volunteer work, like, in the program type thing out there? Try to convince them to come out and
You mean like the school,
No.
those volunteers, yeah.
our kids.
Oh, yes.
Our
Come
membership,
out.
yeah.
Yeah, well, Jacob was there last year and,
So we had, there was, with the triathlon, there was actually 12 of our kids.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I know you didn't really, I didn't know you didn't really see them because it's such a large area. They were mainly out on the barricades,
Okay.
but,
and
yeah, and
Wesley.
it's, there was 12 of our youth and kids,
Okay.
that were involved.
Yeah.
So, and then the Red Shoe, and then the Smith Falls one, we had 7 or 8.
It's harder for
Seven or
the
eight.
Smith Falls one for our youth because it is
During the
during,
day.
it's
Yeah.
a school day, right? So if they don't go to school in Smith Falls.
Or it's also during work time, and we don't really want them to give
Yeah,
up.
no.
Yeah,
Take a day off of
exactly,
work.
exactly. So, yeah, that one's, but
Yeah.
the triathlon, yeah, we did actually have good support from our kids.
Now, what about like a family fun day in a Carlton Place area back where? So I know there was some
So-
talk about that.
Yeah, I think part of the conversation, again, it's kind of recognizing like it's pretty much us
Yeah.
now. Like when we look at, 2 or 3 years ago, there was definitely a lot more people that were engaged and involved and so on. And so I think that's had a solution to that. That's kind of where our biggest challenge moving forward. And so it's trying to figure out, like Shelley was saying, really recognizing how valuable our time is. Using that to get the greatest return on investment, I think that's kind of where the thinking is at. Definitely our hope is this is where we're seeing long term the Smith Falls Red Shoe Run. The hope would be that there's going to be another layer that grows out of this. That's beyond just our core, right? That if we can get, there were 750 kids show up for it. What is that? Like, what's the impact on that going to be like in 5 years?
Yeah.
It's why Shelley's calling me.
Did she drop off?
Yeah, I think she dropped off. Hey.
Hi, the power just went out for some reason.
Oh,
Okay.
have Jacob start up the.
Can you get Jacob to turn the generator on? I know. Okay.
Solar power in the winter.
Are you?
Okay.
I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know if
My guess is it dropped below the 47%.
With the snow
Have a-
yesterday, you.
things have probably dropped below the 47 because of all the snow that was on the panel.
So you're gonna want to scrape the panels off and you're gonna want to get the generator. Okay, perfect.
It's gonna let them dry.
So, yeah, there's gas in the generator and there's 2 cans off to the side that are full.
Going from
Okay,
okay, bye.
bye.
Shelley's not going off grid ever again.
Zero chance.
Our panels made me
This has been-
$3.80 last month. Yeah.
Anyways,
Like, because it's the same school boards, like in Carlton Place.
Yeah.
it is, and I think the thing that's probably most exciting from our standpoint is the reason the principals, all 7 principals signed up for it and sent their kids to it is also because, though, it's not them that get to make the decision. It is because their superintendents have absolutely authorized this. We now have both directors of education authorizing this. We have the spec ed, we have the spec ed principals for both school boards authorizing this. And so,
Is it a different superintendent in Beckworth? Is it not the same superintendent?
no, it's a different superintendent. So, Town of Smith Falls and Leeds Grenville is one superintendent, and Lanark County is a different superintendent. So, for both boards, actually. So and the fact that and part of that is because of the work that has been done at the CX. Part of it has been because of these days. Part of it has been because of the presentations, and in fact, presentation that Shelby did a couple of years ago at the Carlton Place High School. The principal that she worked with and was there and arranged all that. He's the new superintendent for Upper Canada now for this area. Like it's those kinds of actually, you guys sorry, it was the same, it was the same principal that you guys worked with 3 years ago, Mr. Nelson. So he was what was he? I want to say he was still there when you guys were in, I think it was the end of grade 5. You were starting to have some conversations, I think, with resource at the high school. Do I have this right?
No, it would have been grade 6.
Was it grade 6?
Yeah, that's when everything was started, the conversation.
I think it was, no, I think he was still there. I think he was the principal at the Crown Place High School when you guys were in grade 6 and had that initial conversation.
No, it was somebody different.
Was it somebody different? Okay.
Mark, remember the Beckwith's,
No, not Beckwith.
no, but he
Yeah.
came, huh? That came from Carlton Place High School. I don't remember his name.
Okay. Anyways, but it's,
He was at Carlton Place High School. I think he was the intermediate vice principal. And then he went over to Beckwith.
okay. Okay. It's just, I guess what I'm saying is like, there's been multiple conversations with multiple people for a while now. And so they very much, in fact, we were, like I had a conversation just a couple months ago with the spec ed principals for both SEACs. And
Like,
they were,
because the Smith Falls Family Fun Day, it's great for awareness for Smith Falls. But to have more awareness in Carlton Place as well.
and that's, yeah, and the hope is to be able to continue to expand that beyond the family of Smith Falls. That right now, like I can tell you that the St. Francis, so St. Francis in Smith Falls has sent the invite on to the principal for St. Joseph's out of Toledo, which is not part of the family. It's a totally different superintendent, it's a totally different family of schools and so on. But we're in conversations right now to see if they're wanting to come on May 26th. Lombardi came last year.
Yeah.
Lombardi's not part of that family. It was actually Mr. Hanna out of now Duncan J. Montague before, who's good friends with the principal over at Lombardi, and Andrea Bright, the principal there, decided to find the money for busing and have the kids join that day. We actually extended invitations last year to the principal for Holy Name of Mary in Almont, because that's Steve and Kathy's daughter. The busing was the challenge. The busing for them is like, it's $3,000 at that point for them, whereas anybody in Smith Falls, there is no busing, they're just walking to it, right? So
Montague was 1,000.
Yeah.
We got a grant for that.
but it was because the township paid for that one. And so that's where the hope would be, even from a sponsorship standpoint. Again, if Jumpstart comes in, we potentially might be in a position to help out with that. I've got 4 delegations already set up for this one. Accessibility Committee for Smith Falls, the Smith Falls Civitan. I'm still working on Smith Falls Rotary. I know you were talking to Big.
I put our letter to the Retired Teachers Association in our region.
Yeah.
Their decision-making, like the next meeting isn't till April.
Yeah.
So it'll kind of jam right up against it, but.
Yeah, and that's
Anyway,
fine. And,
yeah.
and it's one of, and again, it's one of these where if we know that the money is coming, like we can work it out,
We sure could.
right? As long as we know the money is coming, we can work it out.
And
Is kind of where we're at.
Yeah.
And then Mrs. LP, again, Mrs. LP is actually doing the same for the retired teachers in Lanark County. as well. So
And Boys and
there's,
Club is another.
yeah, the Boys and Girls Clubs, I know. So that would be the hope. If we can find 6 or 7 different sponsors related to this that can cover those busing costs, then absolutely, we can expand this. We can definitely expand this beyond Smith Falls schools. And we don't have to put extra time and work into it at the same time.
The park in Smith Falls does have capacity, you know.
Yeah.
For more kids and buses and that, so we do have capacity, and our timing, we can make it work. It's all about getting them there, and getting the buy-in from the schools, but yeah, definitely,
And pieces of it are the time it takes in the school
Yeah.
day window to, you know, to transport from very far.
yeah.
Which is why we have,
It's
yeah,
like
which
this-
is why we have the time frame that we have to have.
Sure.
Like it doesn't start till 10 o'clock because of the busing issues, and we end at 1:30 again because of the busing issues.
Regionally, yeah, it'd be nice. No, you make
Yeah.
a good point, Rhonda. It'd be nice to
Well,
expand on it.
that's where Mark's gone to school and like, you know, I mean, Beckwith. And his school know that he has FASD, but it'd be nice for awareness of
Yeah.
other people in the community.
I hope that it's expanding the professional knowledge in all of those schools. That's my hope too, so that
Well,
they
that's
can
a
talk to
whole
it.
other, that's a whole other thing that we are working on from,
I'm sure,
yeah,
but you know,
Yes.
the staff may grow it.
Yeah.
You know, that's Pollyanna, but
no,
but
no,
saying
it's
just,
No,
not Pollyanna,
it's not.
no, it's something that
It-
needs
it
to
can be a
happen, right? It's
strategy.
not yeah, it is a strategy that we are
One of
working
the,
on.
one of the really, again, one of the really pleasant surprises that I've kind of learned from this past year is, Shannon Russell in particular has made a huge difference in this area. Like, it's very obvious the amount of conversations that she's had with some of the professional and service providers within the schools and outside of the schools. Like her name, oh my goodness, it keeps coming up again and again and again. Like everybody I talk to, it's like, oh, are you related to, are you connected with Shannon? Like kind of thing. So
That's
it's like,
great.
yeah,
she's a champion.
she is. She's great. Sorry, cut you off. Shelley's back on, by the
I
way.
see that.
Yeah.
Any more questions about those red shoe awareness events? Okay, we'll move on. We got kind of down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Sorry. No worries.
It's a good
No,
question.
No, it's good questions and it's good things
That's why
to
we
bring
do
up.
this. Yeah.
So we also participated again with the Harvest Festival, the Beckwith Harvest Festival. And that's where we actually announced our Grow Grant and MPP. John Jordan was there with us, as well as representatives from Trillium, so that was good. We've done the Harvest Festival now, how many years?
Just twice.
Just twice?
Yeah.
I don't know, are we, because it is very close to FASD Awareness Day. And the energy that we put into the Harvest Festival, we're not actually doing things for FASD Awareness Day because we're putting all of our limited resources, office resources into that. So it's something we want to look at going forward. What is again, the ROI of attending the Harvest Festival? And we did do Kavanaugh Picnic this year and a whole bunch of things with Kavanaugh Fair. Yeah. And it was a lot of work. And it got out of our ability. And we've kind of made a decision, we're not doing that again. It just is not, again, let's try to focus on what we do and what we know. And, because that got way out of what we know and what we do. So, Kavanaugh is a partner and we want to keep partnering with them for certain things, but, let's stay away from food. We're not caterer.
Nice.
Barbecue now.
He is, he's fantastic. Good man, Mark. So advocacy and leadership. So as we all know, we were at the conference, the FASD conference in the fall. And it was my first conference, and I really got a lot out of it personally. And our FASD Awareness Day tagged on to the back of that with at Queen's Park. And we had some really good conversations at that. And we made, I think, some good inroads with all the parties, including into the Premier's office. I could, Rob, if you want to expand on that a little bit more, but I don't know. I think we've kind of.
Well, I think the two biggest ones, we've all seen at this point, every time that we go to Queen's Park, something really good comes out afterwards. It was kind of neat to know, I actually was able to directly link it this time, in that Jane's going to be talking about our ROD grant here shortly. It was absolutely direct result of us being there, having the conversations with the people that needed to hear about why it's important for people living with FASD to become employed, and the kinds of things that go along with that, and why that has to be done. That was the other piece that came out of the convention that was really cool to hear. Was, again, it reminds me of, we were talking about this before. You remember, like 4 or 5 years ago, we would have to start our conversations off with explaining what FASD actually was. And then that was normally all the conversation was, right? And then, and that happened for a little bit. And then we got to the point where people generally understood what FASD was. Then we had to kind of explain to them what Rule FASD was, and why we exist, and those kinds of things. The conversations we have now, we don't have to explain either one of them, which is, we actually get to the heart of the problems now. And that was my huge takeaway from the convention, was as soon as I brought up Rule FASD, people knew who I was talking about. The ministers that I was talking to there, their staffers that I was talking to there. The other piece that we did a debrief with Jordan here last month, just in terms of kind of next steps and what we saw out of that. But the biggest one, our biggest takeaway, at least from my objective, was we hadn't been to Queen's Park since before COVID. And there's been so much change in terms of ministries and MPPs and so on. Really didn't have a sense anymore of who was still in support of us, who was still passionate about this, and so on. And so that was really what it was about, was just kind of gauging, is FASD even on the agenda? Like, are they even thinking about it right now from a provincial standpoint? And what we saw was the Premier sent a representative, and he spoke with us for 45 minutes. From the convention, I discovered that an old but good friend of mine actually works for the Premier's office now, which I didn't know. And he let me know that after that meeting, the Premier's representative brought it back to their weekly update meetings and so on. Like, the entire chief of staff and the Premier are on this and see it as important. Second in command, if you didn't know, is the party leader, which is Steve Clark. Steve Clark physically showed up and took a picture, not with just PC, but actually took a picture with the NDP people and the Liberal people as well, in terms of that formal, and then marketed and advertised it to all of his followers, which is literally by doing that, he is declared to every single MPP in the province, you need to stand behind this because I am.
Mhm.
He brought with him the Speaker of the House, who determines the priority in terms of legislature agenda. He's the one that determines which bills get brought up and when they get brought up and so on. He's there showing support. Steve tells us that the best champion that we can possibly have, the one that needs to be working behind the scenes and moving things forward, is John Jordan. That he has shown that he is the one that is able to really get cross-party people involved, people like him. It's really nice to have good representation out of Lander County. Is all I'll say there. And then the last piece is if there was a bill that was to go through, the last part where it could get blocked would be with the standing committee. There's a standing committee on social policy is generally is the last one that would, after second reading, would approve whether something goes forward or not. 7 of the 10 members of the standing committee, including the chair, was at that meeting as well. So there is literally every single person who potentially could block any FASD legislature moving forward was there showing support. So yeah, so that was that was the information that was absolutely fantastic to find out. The second one that came out of it was we now understand the mandate for FASD prevention is not the public health unit. I think we've had this conversation before already, but in Ontario, the mandate for FASD prevention actually lies with the Alcohol Gaming Commission of Ontario.
Well, we went to a wedding in September and
Yeah.
we were both blown away that at the bar,
Yeah,
it had a picture of somebody pregnant and
yeah.
alcohol right through it.
There have, that's
That's supposed to be up in
That
every
is
bar.
mandated. That is the only thing they have to do.
We
I've never seen that
had one
before.
of your bumper stickers.
Mm.
I went out to the car and got one and put it right on the stick. Right
The
next to it.
thing that's interesting with that though, and this was the conversation, I'm looking forward to see where this goes over the next year or two. It's actually in the legislature, every single location that has a liquor license is required to have that poster up, seen publicly in a place that is easy to access, where it's basically obvious,
It's visible.
where it's visible. Stop and think about who has liquor licenses though. Every gas station has a liquor license.
Yeah.
Every grocery store now has a liquor license. Every restaurant has a liquor license. The beer store, all of those kinds of places. Every community arena where they basically will have a liquor license associated with it. And so that was the conversation where I was sharing with John. So one of the things I did over the Christmas break was I went through Smith Falls and I identified how many different places in Smith Falls have liquor licenses. So there's like somewhere around 80 to 90 places. Can you imagine if all 80, 90 of those had the FASD poster permanently displayed for everyone to see?
Thing is this with the FASD poster.
Yeah,
It's not a poster. It's a piece of paper that's printed out. It's not a poster.
Yeah, social media and it's. the
They
other
don't,
avenue
that's,
now.
like, they're doing the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Because they don't
Yeah.
even send a glossy poster. It's the responsibility of the license holder to print that off and to post it. The Liquor and Gaming Commission makes billions every year off of booze. I know that I give them lots of money. And very minimal is very minimal is
Yeah.
done for.
I
FASD
just
prevention,
see it
and
as a
that- and like
conflict
that
of
is the-
interest.
the
Like,
very-
I don't understand why it lies there at all, the preventative piece.
But
I-
it's
I
the
get that
two
they're
thousand, but it's
enacting.
2000, but that is what Ontario has done. It's 2003, it's Sandy's law, and they're not gonna change that legislature, so now it's like, I actually don't mind it too much, because if we can focus our advocacy on making, because the first thing that's happened is AGCO is supposed to be doing audits to confirm that all these places are being compliant. They're not, because it's not even half of the people that have liquor licenses are actually posting the poster right now. So,
Yeah,
but at the same time, it's like, if AGCO got a fire lit under the butt to basically kind of have to really reinforce this.
The problem is public doesn't associate that poster with
Yeah, that's the other
FASD.
problem.
There's no association. They have no idea.
Yeah.
They don't know that that poster is regarding Sandy's law. They've never heard of Sandy's law. They see that poster, the writing is small. There is no FASD awareness actually associated.
It's not
with
associated
that
with that.
poster. So they can, do whatever they want with the
Yeah.
poster. It's not, and I went into, so I did a presentation for the 100 women. They had two posters up there, colored one and not, right up at the bar, you could see them right there. And I asked them, does anybody know what those posters mean? It's a pregnant lady on it, don't know. Does anybody know what Sandy's law is? Like, some people knew, and that's Sandy's. And I'm like, that's Sandy's law. And no correlation, even the people who knew what FASD were in that room
Good
had
analogy,
no
though.
idea about that poster related to FASD or prevention. So it's below the bare minimum.
Like, I think it should be something that's taught in the schools,
Mm-hmm.
like to his age group.
Oh, is there a break scheduled? Well, we were actually supposed to be done, but we kept talking. Let me, okay, well, I'm almost
It's
done.
good. It's
Yeah.
good, people.
Let me, I'll just finish this. I have one page left and I'm just gonna skim. Grants and programs. So as I said earlier, we're finishing the final months of the YOF grant. The one important thing for our membership, and I'm sure everybody here has already done it, but the surveys. We have, I believe, 28 surveys completed so far. That's a 23% of the of our final year, but as many as possible. So these will really help.
I got everybody but the dog at our house. He was keen, but.
Yeah. So that's a final push. Judith is starting to let everybody know, but I'm going to tell her to wait till really March, and so she's going to be giving my contact information for any contacts or communications that require support going forward until we can secure those kind of roles again and funding for those kind of roles. And again, come the end of April, we will be moving out of our offices over here at Open Doors. And well, pretty well, all of us, like Shannon, myself, Skylar, and Wesley, we're all going to be doing work from home. Those are our employees now that we're going to be transitioning into. And again, so going to the Grow Grant, so Skylar started in January for Youth Accessibility Leader, and Wesley starts on Monday. So she has done a Wesley Marlowe, Karen's Wesley, Sharon Linda's Wesley. And so Skylar's already done a review of our website, and she's made recommendations and changes for wording for more plain language. And she's also working on, she worked on another website that we're going to be partnering with called Lemonade Lab. And they're developing an entrepreneurial tool it's focused right now, like the actual focus is on primary school age kids that want to have a language stand or something, and the marketing for that and how that works. But we're gonna develop it and change it for people who are neurodivergent, who are good entrepreneurs, but all that work to set up a website and all that background piece and your sales and everything that is so not friendly for what you want to do, they do that with you and walk through it. So Skylar's walked through that. She found it really beneficial and really helpful. And she has done I'm really impressed with what she's given me back so far from her audits. And I'm looking forward for when Wesley jumps on board. And she's now working, she's taking a look at the Mississippi Mills website. I actually ended up having lunch last Saturday morning with the mayor, Krista, and she brought up from when we went last year and presented at the Mississippi Mills Council, when we talked about the audit at that point in time, she brought that up to me. And so she's going to get her staffers to look and see what kind of funding they have for that. And in the meantime, I've already got Skylar to start taking a look at their accessibility pages.
Very good.
Have a conversation with Joe at some point. See if this was something you might come to.
I will,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
He's,
Yeah.
he's trades and has.
So and then we talked about the enabling accessibility fund and that grant, and so that's all tied in together. One grant that isn't on here, because when I wrote this, we weren't allowed to tell anybody about it yet. So we have been awarded a 2-year, it's the Rural Ontario Development Grant, ROD. And so that is actually going to allow us to finally finish the James Stanfield curriculum and make it workable for not only our neurodivergent youth to work, but also to get them employed, work with employers and teach them how to work with not only employ, but keep employed people who are with FASD, who are neurodivergent, and build up those workshops. And so we're going to be making those workshops, and then hopefully at the end, then we'll be able to sell those workshops. So we're going to be partnering. We have partners in Canadian Career Academy and the Grenville, what is it? The
Career services?
Both council, so
Yeah.
the North Grenville municipality, as well as the what's known as CGE Consulting,
Yeah,
which is basically
their employment.
the Kempville Employment Center.
Yeah. So so Riley hopefully is going to come on as our program coordinator for that. And Shelley and Tracy are going to be working on the curriculum and on the workshop development. And then Skylar and Wesley are going to be testing it out for us. So we've got all working together. We're very excited. So it's a 2-year grant. So it's going to go from starting now till 28. So we're very excited about that project, and that will, hopefully not only get our youth with FASD employed but keep them employed and get that mentorship. So that is upcoming. It hasn't been officially announced yet, but we just signed the actual agreement this week.
Very good.
And it's $143,000 grant over the 2-year period. And mental health first aid. So it's changed. There are now 2 mental health first aid streams, the essentials, which is kind of similar to what we had before, and a 2-day certification. And with that 2-day certification, it's now eligible for CLE, continuing learning education credits for social workers, for in mental health care, in psychology, all of that. So we've already started talking to the local health teams because and working on getting that. So what's going to happen is once the YOF is finished, Judith is actually gonna come on and she's gonna be a contractor for our mental health training and keep working on it. So we're just gonna keep contracting with Judith to provide our mental health first aid training and just keep it going before she finishes in March. So I would like to put on another mental health first aid on the new one for our core membership and get their feedback and everything for our inaugural one, and then be able to start sending it out. Any questions before I go on to updates? So last year, new signing authority, we have a new treasurer from last year, which is Diane. So she has a new signing authority for us. And we've updated our corporate address. Our corporate address used to be 5150 Roger Stevens Drive, and however, that address is no longer available to us. Somebody had to go and move. So our corporate address is now 2028 6 Concession Road, C, Lanark, Ontario, 0G1K0, which is my place. And all of our Shelley's big smile. Don't smile so big, Shelley. She's laughing at me. And basically, we're going
That's
to be
pretty much ultimate job security, by the way. So,
and everything is kind of getting stored at my place. You've done our basement, and my basement is now dry, so I can store things in there with their, water damage. It's nice and dry with my new furnace. Love it. Love the boiler. And we changed over our corporate credit card, so that's now no longer in Shelley's name. And again, those addresses are now at in Lanark. And as I indicated before, we invested 125,000 into a short-term GIC, and that gave us 2.5% interest on that. So it's going to be fully paid out at the end of the year, but it's actually accumulates monthly. So we don't get the money, but that's how it's accumulating. Now I have pulled down the first 25,000 for operating, so it's right now sitting at 100,000. And yeah, I think that is everything. Continuing to advocate, continuing advocacy within education systems, and for instruction, and building the employer workshops to support neurodivergent hiring and sustained employment.
we will take a short break right after this, but unless there's any other questions, I'll entertain a motion to accept the operations report. I think I have a head nod from Riley, so we'll do a move by Riley, seconded by Rhonda. Shelley, go ahead.
Hit the wrong button, that's all.
Okay.
I meant to do a thumbs up.
Okay, so Shelley's already put her vote in. Everyone else, hands up. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, we will take a 5-minute break and then we'll move into the new business of elections. We've only got about probably no more than 5 or 10 minutes remaining at this point, but we'll come back at 11:58.
Rob, you need the buckles.
So the solar panels aren't working too well?
Part is this is the best I've been in 2 weeks. It was like, I actually missed a day of work, which never ever happens for me. A couple weeks ago, and it's just been slow and
Solar panels aren't working too well.
That's a subject that you don't want to touch.
See, solar panels.
Interesting. We all have them though, sitting here.
yeah.
We got them on
have,
the roof, but we
We-
into the
we-
grid.
We went into that grid,
Yeah,
what
We've,
Hydro One.
we've made the decision at this point that we located a Airbnb at Carlton Place. We are moving after March break. We're at the point where it's like, so they've decided to,
Sorry.
yeah, they've decided to sell, and they've decided to sell now. So,
Well,
we got some panels, well, we got the new batteries put in and everything's working 2 weeks ago. We got a week. And then painters have came in this week and the flooring guy is in this week. And drywall people were
So
in.
you're going through the same
And
thing.
we're going through the exact same thing. Shelley and I were talking about the fact that we started this process at our place last February.
here you are.
Like it has been nonstop for 12 months. And it's like, we're both just, okay.
So done with this.
The photographer comes one day and they're hoping to do showings as of next week.
What's going on?
Well, the photographer's coming
Monday
in on
night,
Monday,
likely.
and they're going live right after that.
Okay.
So later this week, likely going to be looking at showings.
So where's the
Again.
Airbnb?
Right on the north end of Mississippi Lake, so Island Park Drive and Carlton Place. So the selling point for me was instead of driving 2.5 hours every day to get to school, I only get to drive for an hour every day. Now, I am looking forward to driving only an hour every day.
When do you have the?
So they're going in over the March break to start cleaning it all up. There's a little bit of flexibility. They're hoping to get us in on the following weekend.
Okay.
So on March 24th. And then we've already arranged for the storage bin to come to the property on April 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm looking at the moving truck on Easter weekend. That Saturday. I think we're looking at April 2nd, all of our stuff will already be gone because it's a fully furnished Airbnb.
Oh,
So we're just leaving our stuff there for the week after we move out. And then bring the moving truck in the fall of that Easter weekend. And put it all in the storage bin. And really hope that the snow is gone enough that we could get in.
I'm still thinking.
Really hope it.
Yeah.
To the point that I may even call Corey just to bring his truck in and figure it all out if I have to do that. Figure something out.
dozer with.
So if you're not doing anything Easter weekend, by the way. And I don't need I don't need help at that end. I just, if you happen to be around the corner doing nothing that Saturday, could certainly use some help taking stuff out of the truck into the bin.
I've been doing a lot of nothing.
It's just been Molly Maid,
Oh,
giving me migraines with phantoms.
Hey. All right, 11:58. Meeting is called back to order at this point. So last items. Just a couple of things to note here. We'll make a little more reference to it in terms of the bylaw amendments on number 3 after the new business. But two things that should be aware of for everyone here. There's new legislature in the province of Ontario called ONCA. Basically initials ONCA, that now dictate what the rules for nonprofit corporations are. And the way it works is if your bylaws do not specifically make reference to certain items, then the ONCA rules take over at that point. So as it stands right now, our bylaws are not significantly changing in any way, other than there is one amendment that we're going to make here shortly. But there are some sections that our bylaws don't make reference to that ONCA now puts in. And one of the rules that ONCA has is you can actually have up to 25% of your board are also allowed to be paid employees of the corporation. So it had always been our understanding before that it was a director could not be a paid employee. There is, because our bylaws don't specifically make reference to that though, that is allowed at this point. So that's just something to know moving forward, unless and it would, I think it would pertain more to I'll just throw it out there to Riley, who may not necessarily have known that, because Riley is about to become a paid employee, as we know, because of the Rod grant, but she is still eligible at this point to be a director as well. Because right now we have 6 directors, none of whom are paid employees of the corporation, which enables us then to have 2 who are, is where it kind of stands right now. Second one to be aware of is right now our bylaws do enable us to have up to 10 directors. We currently have 6. We're only required to have the minimum of the 3 though, so we're still kind of in that sweet spot between the 2. And so at this point, we will move into the nomination and election of directors. Cassie Moore is the only director this year whose term is coming to an end. She did communicate that she is wanting to stay on the board, and so she is. As a result, I am nominating her as a director. As a result, there are still 4 open spots. If there is anyone else who would be interested in becoming director, you are allowed to self-nominate yourself as well.
All right.
Hearing on the other. Okay. Whoops. Riley?
No, I was just say sorry. Can you repeat what you said about me, like, of that I can be on the director board? Sorry.
So yes. So the really, really short form of it is you are eligible
Oh, okay.
to be a director.
You're eligible because you're considered a caregiver slash like family member of someone who lives with FASD. So that's what makes you eligible.
Oh, okay, okay.
Just so you know, because you have to either be living with FASD or be in a caregiver slash family role.
Okay.
Okay, so you are eligible because of that.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I'd like to if that's a possibility. I guess self-nominate.
We'd like it to.
Yeah. Nominated by Jane. I will give it 30 more seconds before we move on to the election itself. All right, hearing none. Because there is no opposition, because there are open spots and there's no opposition to the election of Cassie Moore and Riley Belanger, we can do a vote. I will accept a motion for acclamation of these 2 individuals. Moved by, I'm going to pick Dave this time.
I got it, Mike.
Absolutely. Seconded by Shelley. I saw a hand there.
Yeah, it's fine.
All in favor, hands up. Motion carries. Congratulations, Riley. That's exciting.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll talk to you. We have a second
You have
meeting
to
that's
sign, you have to sign
Oh,
those
yeah.
documents,
Yeah,
remember,
let's get
right?
some- so there's paper. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I have them right here. So,
Okay.
yeah, there's
It
paperwork,
just,
but we'll get that out.
Riley, all it is it's a document that acknowledges your roles and responsibilities as a director that you sign off on.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. Okay, second, we are also, as part of our AGM, always have to establish who our auditor for the upcoming year is going to be. And so once again, I think Jane is, I think we could safely say that once again, Mr. Winter and has been fabulous to work with. He's one of the very few people in the area that we know of that will actually do nonprofits and engagement reviews. Very reasonable in his pricing, very knowledgeable in terms of all of that. So I will accept a motion to appoint Auditor Bob Winter of CPA Professional Corporation out of Smith Falls. Is there someone willing to make that motion?
Shelley did.
So moved.
Okay, beautiful.
Second.
Seconded by Diane. All in favor, hands up. Beautiful. Okay. Third item then is, as I stated before, Jane has actually been working with who's the
The ONN,
yeah, thank you.
Ontario Nonprofit Network.
There we go. Jane's been working with the Ontario Nonprofit Network, who has kind of been serving as our advisors because this new legislature called ALCA is not really straightforward and easy to understand. So we've been getting direction and advice from them. We've actually completed our review, a complete review of our bylaws to understand our compliance and so on. We know at this point that our bylaws are fully compliant with what ALCA requirements are. The one thing that we are looking at changing is within our bylaws, there is an option to do proxy voting for our AGM. At the time when we did our bylaws back in 2019, as Shelley and Diane know, we had no idea what this was going to look like. And so the law, our attorney at the time basically put down every single thing that could possibly happen. And we basically said, sounds good. We'll figure it out afterwards. What we understand now in terms of proxy voting, there's never been a time where we've ever used that option in our 7 years of corporation now. And because of the way we run our AGMs, we really don't see a situation where proxy voting will ever come into play. And so we're asking at this point that we remove that amendment. The other part of it too is there's a fair amount of legislature around how the proxy voting needs to be done if it is left in the bylaws, which would be cumbersome and challenging is how I would put it. So we're asking, I would accept a motion at this point that we amend our bylaws.
Rob, can I just make a comment
Yeah.
before you do the
Yeah.
motion, please?
Sure.
Thank you. So as Rob said, we didn't really understand proxy voting when we put this in. It was the lawyer that put it in. And what we've come to know is there's a couple of things. One is, as Rob says, the administration is actually cumbersome to do because we'd have to create forms and all this kind of stuff and then actually monitor it. The other thing, though, that it does allow is if somebody couldn't be at a meeting, and again, we didn't have virtual at the time, they could assign somebody, but what that opens the door to is someone being able to vote that we don't know, and someone who could alter the direction of the organization that we don't know. So it was one of the recommendations that I made when Jane and I went through all of the bylaws, is that I really think, because we do have your ability to join virtually, if you really want to be involved in voting, I felt that the proxy voting was a little bit more risky for such a small organization, because one person could change the way this organization, like, so our focus, right? So things like our strategic plan and all of that, they could have an impact on, and we don't know them. So that's kind of just so people who don't really understand what proxy voting is, that's why I recommended to the board that we get rid of it. Okay.
So it sounds like to me that Shelley has made the motion for this at this point. Do I have a second?
Also,
Seconded by Rhonda. All in favor, hands up. Motion carries. That brings us to the end of our AGM. I will accept a motion for adjournment.
I will only make a point about acknowledging the hard work that Jane is doing, okay? Putting it out there, but yes, I will motion for adjournment. Thank you, Jane.
So we're going to capture it within the minutes here. Diane.
Just quietly,
Thanks,
miraculously
Jane.
all happens in the background.
We got it fixed up afterwards. All right. Motion by Diane for adjournment. Don't need a seconder. All in favor. Motion carries. Beautiful. Everybody can stay on because we're going to again take about a 3-minute break, and then we just have to have our board of directors meet. Shelley, you're welcome to hop off. You're good.
Bye, Shelley. If you do.
Rob, before you come home, we need Drano.
Hot milk.
I think I want to stop the recording of the meeting now.
Say bye to everybody. Say bye.